If you want to play baseball in college, we need to talk about the money. Let's dig into it.
You cannot feel this energy.
College baseball is a very unique sport when it comes to how the scholarship packages work. It's not like any of the other ones. Football has a full roster complement of scholarships, and basketball has a full roster complement of scholarships, meaning the full scholarships can cover the roster, the entire playing roster. Now, baseball, we don't have that luxury. We have 11.7 scholarships to give over the entire roster. So if there's 26 guys on a roster, well, we don't even have half the full scholarships to give. And because pitching is such a dominant impact in our sport, the pitchers, which is typically about somewhere around half the roster, dominate that money. Now, of the pitchers who dominate that money, half of them dominate that money. Your number one guy, number two guy, closer, your upperclassmen, the guys that get the wins and do the best job, they get most of that money. So lots of baseball players self-fund or have to find alternate funding avenues to support their college baseball journey. We're not going to get into the politics of it and why that is. That's a whole podcast unto itself that we'll get to. But what I did is I pulled a segment of a podcast I did with Coach Bryan Henry, who is the head coach of Tallahassee College, a high elite junior college program in North Florida. And in that podcast and in that segment that I'm going to show you, we broke down some of the differences between junior college and a four-year school, and we really talked a lot about the money in there as well. And I'm going to show you that podcast right now, because at the end, when I come back from that, I'm going to give you some takeaways on how you can really help yourself financially and academically to maximize the most amount of money that is available to you so that you don't have to come out of pocket to go play baseball in college. Please remember to like, subscribe, and ring that notification bell so YouTube will let you know when we post another video. Right now, let me get you that segment with Coach Bryan Henry. You heard Coach Henry and I talk about a wide range of differences between the junior college model or the community college model and the four-year school model, where the four-year school model is much more rigid. You have to be a part of that program. That's its design. They're harder to get into right off the bat as a freshman, and you really have to kind of commit to that, where the junior college model is set up very, very differently. It supports the surrounding areas, and it's made to be less expensive than the four-year school. It's made also to support people that just graduated from high school, that maybe got through a school that wasn't really serving their needs. Now they want to continue their education. They might need to take remedial courses to get caught up and go part-time, whatever the case may be. The point is they're set up very, very differently. What I want to do now, though, is I really want to talk about the money part, because our sport is so different that way. Like I discussed in the beginning, we only have about a half a roster worth of full scholarships, and half our roster is pitchers who dominate the money, and about half of those guys dominate most of that money. So there's not a whole lot of athletic scholarship to give. Now, we're going to talk a lot about this information in future podcasts, but for this one, I want to give you a couple of big takeaways that you can use to help you stretch that dollar further and hopefully be able to get into that school without having to borrow money. Now, here is big takeaway, super big takeaway number one. First, your grades. That is the easiest, simplest, most straightforward way to make up that difference between what you're receiving athletically and what you need to live on. So if you've got 20% or you're on 25% or whatever that may be, that other 75%, there is a huge portfolio of scholarships at just about all colleges and universities, excuse me, that are available to all students and to student athletes for good grades. Second big takeaway here. Let's say you've got a couple of schools and you've got dialogue with the coach going back and forth. Now, the coach is going to know about the money to a certain extent. He's not going to, because he's not an expert in that field, in that area. So as you're talking with the coach, ask the question, who's our counselor? Who is someone that I could talk to about the tuition, or in Florida, it's called the FAFSA. The FAFSA in every state is a little bit different, and there are podcasts all over the place that talk about this stuff, and those are all fine and good, but you really want to get it direct from the school. So Texas operates probably a little differently than California, and Idaho, and Georgia, and Florida all operate similarly, but a little different. So get with your coach, the coach that you have dialogue with, one or two different schools, and ask, who can I talk to about making up this difference? If they're offering 20%, you've got to cover 80%. So who would I talk to about? And they will know exactly who you need to talk to. Call so-and-so and so-and-so, and they will tell you what to do. Now, you may have to put in an early application to unlock that dialogue with that person. Go ahead and do it. Put in the application. It's better to put it in early than late anyway. But they'll be able to guide you to the people that know about the money and how the money moves, so you don't have to come out of pocket at all, or at least nearly as much to pay for that college experience. Use the link in the description to check out the full podcast I did with Coach Henry. And remember to leave your questions in the comment section so I can be sure to ask them on my second interview with him. One last thing. I am giving away one of our hitting courses for free. Our IHP course. An IHP is an individual hitting process that'll help you learn how to prepare to hit any pitcher, throwing any pitch at any velocity. It'll also teach you how to take a good day at the plate and turn it into a streak, and isolate a bad day at the plate so it doesn't turn into a slump. The best thing about the IHP program is that any hitter can use it using any hitting coach and any hitting philosophy. It is that versatile. I've put a link in the description below so you can get signed up for your free IHP course today, and maybe you'll make one of our highlight reels. We'll see you on the field.
You cannot feel this energy.